The United States spends more on its military than any other country in the world, a fact that is both staggering and concerning. In 2023, the U.S. defense budget reached an astronomical $853 billion, a number larger than the entire economy of Switzerland. This amount is even more striking when you realize it surpasses the combined military budgets of major powers like Russia, China, and India. While many understand the U.S. military is large, few are aware of the intricate details of where this money goes, or why such vast sums are allocated to defense every year. This video aims to explore the U.S. military budget, the reasons behind its size, and whether all this spending makes Americans safer. The scale of U.S. military spending. To put things into perspective, almost half of the U.S. federal discretionary budget is dedicated to the military. This means that of every dollar Congress approves for federal spending, about 50 cents go to defense. The remaining half is spread across various sectors such as education, health, energy, diplomacy, and environmental protection. However, the Pentagon's budget is so vast and complex that breaking it down into specific categories is essential to understand how these resources are allocated. A significant portion of the budget, about $352 billion, is devoted to operations and maintenance. This includes everything from transporting troops and fuel to maintaining military equipment and training personnel. It's a massive category, covering many aspects of what it takes to keep the U.S. military running smoothly. Although some may think military spending only covers high-tech weaponry and aircraft, O&M shows that much of the money goes into keeping one of the largest organizations in the world operational. Where the money goes? One of the most surprising aspects of U.S. military spending is how it's used. For instance, the Department of Defense allocates a substantial portion of its budget to cover basic needs like salaries, healthcare, and even elementary schools for the children of military personnel. This includes $39 billion dedicated solely to healthcare services for active duty personnel. The military is like a mini society with its own infrastructure, everything from doctors and dentists to fast food chains like McDonald's and Subway. In addition to domestic spending, the U.S. maintains around 800 military bases outside the country. These bases are essentially slices of America in foreign lands, complete with familiar comforts for military personnel stationed abroad. This extensive global network allows the U.S. to project power worldwide, but it comes at a high cost. Running these bases is incredibly expensive, with $800 billion going into the global operations of the military each year. Aside from operational cost, the Pentagon allocates $140 billion to research and development. This is the sector responsible for keeping the U.S. military technologically advanced, constantly developing new weapons, systems, and strategies to maintain its edge on the battlefield. The military has a long history of developing technologies that eventually make their way into civilian life. GPS, drones, the internet, and even the computer mouse were all military innovations at one point. Today, R&D focuses on projects like ship-based laser weapons, autonomous submarines, and artificial intelligence, AI, for analyzing drone footage. However, these futuristic endeavors come with a hefty price tag, making it one of the most expensive aspects of military spending. The F-35, a costly endeavor. No discussion of military spending would be complete without mentioning the F-35 fighter jet program, which is set to cost taxpayers an astounding $2 trillion over its lifetime. The F-35, one of the most advanced fighter jets in the world, has been plagued by issues since its inception. Cost overruns, delays, and technical problems have made it one of the most controversial military programs in recent history. Despite its high price tag and mechanical challenges, the U.S. continues to invest heavily in the F-35 program. In 2023 alone, the Pentagon requested $14 billion to purchase 83 more jets, adding to the 77 it had already bought that year. The F-35 serves as a prime example of how expensive modern military technology can be and how these costs often spiral out of control. The fighter jet is symbolic of the broader issue of military procurement, where prices for weapons and equipment often skyrocket due to factors like contractor monopolies and mismanagement. The role of defense contractors. A significant portion of U.S. military spending, about 54% or $466 billion, goes to private defense contractors. Companies like Lockheed Martin, Boeing, Raytheon, and Northrop Grumman dominate the defense industry, making billions from government contracts every year. Over the past few decades, the defense contracting industry has become increasingly consolidated, with the number of major players shrinking from 51 to just 5 dominant companies. This concentration of power has led to a form of monopoly in the defense industry, where the Pentagon often has no choice but to pay whatever price these companies demand. For example, the Pentagon pays hundreds of millions of dollars to contractors for everything from missiles to aircraft. In some cases, the prices for these items have increased dramatically over the years. A Stinger missile that once cost $25,000 now costs nearly $500,000. This inflation is often justified by defense contractors as necessary to cover rising costs, but many believe it's a result of the lack of competition in the industry. The influence of lobbying. The influence of defense contractors doesn't stop at overcharging the government for military equipment. These companies are deeply embedded in the U.S. political system, spending millions of dollars every year to lobby lawmakers and secure lucrative contracts. Lockheed Martin, for instance, spent $2.7 million in the most recent election cycle alone, contributing to both Democratic and Republican campaigns to ensure their interests are protected no matter who is in power. The so-called revolving door between the Pentagon and defense contractors also plays a significant role in driving up military spending. High-ranking military officials often retire from government service only to take high-paying jobs with defense contractors, leveraging their insider knowledge and government connections to secure more business. This revolving door perpetuates a system where defense contractors hold immense influence over military spending decisions, often prioritizing profits over national security needs. Does military spending make us safer? One of the biggest questions surrounding U.S. military spending is whether all this money actually makes the country safer. On the one hand, having a strong military can deter potential adversaries and maintain global stability. The U.S. military's ability to project power across the globe ensures that it remains the dominant force in international politics, able to protect its interests and those of its allies. However, there is a growing concern that the U.S. may be spending too much on its military at the expense of other important areas. Critics argue that the enormous military budget diverts resources from other sectors like healthcare, education, and infrastructure, all of which are essential for maintaining long-term national security. After all, a country's security isn't just measured by the strength of its military, but also by the well-being and prosperity of its citizens. Moreover, some believe that endless military spending could provoke an arms race, with other countries ramping up their own defense budgets in response. The Cold War arms race between the U.S. and the Soviet Union serves as a cautionary tale of how unchecked military spending can spiral out of control, leading to dangerous levels of global instability. A complex issue. The U.S. military budget is a complex and multifaceted issue, driven by a combination of strategic needs, political influence, and corporate interests. While the U.S. undoubtedly requires a strong military to maintain its global dominance, the current system of military spending raises serious questions about accountability, efficiency, and long-term security. As the Pentagon continues to pour billions into new technologies and defense contracts, it's essential for the American public to scrutinize where this money is going and whether it's truly making the country safer. In the end, the U.S. military is not just a tool for defending the nation. It's a global force with far-reaching consequences for both national and international security. The challenge moving forward will be finding a balance between maintaining a strong defense and ensuring that military spending doesn't come at the expense of the country's broader needs. Thank you for taking the time to explore the complexities of U.S. military spending with us. If you found this video knowledgeable and want to dive deeper into more topics like this, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us continue creating valuable content, and by turning on the notification bell, you'll be the first to know when we release new videos. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below and join the conversation. See you in the next one.